Hi guys, I'm Kendall Hoeft, and I'm going to be speaking to you today about the dysfunctional family model and how you can understand if you came from a dysfunctional family. I'm going to talk about some of the qualities that those families have, and hopefully you can look at yours and see. I've got a cat coming into the screen here. Hi boy, come and say hello. So, some of the characteristics of a dysfunctional family. One, they discourage open talk about obvious problems. Everyone has problems. Conflict is a healthy part of life when we can communicate safely and lovingly about the realities of what's going on. I've got the cats like wiggling the screen. Hopefully they stay out of it. Be good, be good. I would show you them, but I just painted my nails, so I don't want to mess up my polish. So there's this whole idea that, we can't express our feelings. We can't be honest about what's going on in our hearts and in our minds. We can't talk about it, so we're shuffling problems under the rug and we're pretending and acting like everything's okay, and that's dysfunctional. Another attribute of a dysfunctional family is that it sort of permits or causes destructive roles to come about. So some of these roles might be the scapegoat. He's usually blamed for the family problems. The hero works hard to be responsible and redeem the family's reputation and be the savior and make things look good and be perfect. The surrogate spouse often takes the place of an emotionally absent spouse. So I see this actually a lot with single moms. I see this kind of strong son figure comforting the mother, being strong for her. And while in some ways that's beautiful, that was never the role of that child. The child was meant to be helped. The child was meant to be taken care of. The child was never meant to, at a young age, to be supporting and having an adult depend on him or her. That kind of robs the child of their childhood. Childhood is a time to be innocent, to be spontaneous. Childhood is a time to not have pressure on you and just to be able to enjoy the freedom and simplicity of being taken care of by adults. Another role is the quiet one. This is kind of my husband's role that he was in, is never get in the way, never cause trouble, just be easy peasy. I know another character in my family in my siblings that took on this role where it was like, well, there's enough problems going on. Well, there's bigger problems going on. So I'm not going to bother my parents with my issues. I'm not going to, they've got enough on their plate. They don't need to be dealing with me. And so their problems are suppressed, their problems are contained. Babies, don't talk. Oh, they're wanting to play with my little tripod. All right, so we see that the family develops these roles. And now they're playing with a candle on the floor. Well, kids will be kids. So these roles get developed and kind of unconsciously chosen or assigned, and based on the personality of the child, they'll respond differently. So, for instance, with the intense structure that I grew up with in my family, the amount of rules, the amount of pressure, the amount of perfectionism placed upon us, I was the little good girl, and I was basically a novice, well, not really novice, but I was basically a perfectionist. I was a high achiever. I was the one that was going to succeed in every competition. I was the one that was going to get the affirmation and earn the approval. Whereas, like the middle child, my brother, he took a more rebellious outlook. He was like more of, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to push the boundaries. I'm not going to play by the rules. I'm going to push buttons and I'm going to see what the results are. And that kind of approach just totally terrifies me. But what's so fun now is that in my 30s, I'm realizing that I can be a rebel, that I'm challenging myself to break rules. I'm challenging myself, like I know what other people want from me sometimes, and I'm challenging myself to really be honest and authentic to what I actually want, to who I actually am, and let the chips fall, regardless of the possible negative reactions, regardless of the possible negative responses from a family member or a person in society on the street, and to just really come into embracing really who I am. And I'm such an expressive person. I'm expressive physically in terms of movement. I literally had the best day today, you guys. I was down at my husband's school and I danced. I just danced. I had my little headphones in, and it was amazing. And I thought that people would laugh and gawk at me, or the police would come and tell me, ma'am, you can't do that here, or some of the crazy shit thoughts that I was thinking. And it's just not reality. People smiled. People's days were brightened up. People were encouraged and excited, and or they just didn't care and they were just living their life and they barely looked at all. And that was perfectly fine, because I just wanted to be honest to myself. I wanted to finally give myself permission to be who I am. And another thing is creative expression. My outfit today, it's like I've got my face tattoos. I've got my my multicolored makeup that's so fun, and I've got my nail polish, and I've got my jewelry, and I've got like this shirt. I love this shirt, but it's literally it's pajamas. It's a silk PJs, and I've just wanted to wear silk PJs in public for the longest time. And I've held back, and I'm kind of over it. Seriously, I know people say they're over it, and I had to say I'm over it, or I don't care about other people's opinions enough so that I actually believe that. That's called an affirmation or a mantra. You begin to say, I'm at peace, I'm still. And after a while, in the Christian context, that's called renewing your mind. And after a while, these thoughts, these realities begin to be ingrained, and as we know, the power in the mind. So much of the physical world comes out of the spiritual, or the flesh or the body is activated or responds to our thoughts and the things that are inside of our minds. Okay, so those are some of the dysfunctional roles that you see popping up in the dysfunctional family. So another attribute is the family doesn't provide enough nourishment for the child. They don't provide enough encouragement. They don't provide enough verbal affirmation, verbal love, verbal support, physical love. They don't touch them in loving ways enough. And so the child doesn't really understand what it means to feel loved, what it means to feel supported, what it means to feel cherished. And what happens is these children grow up into emotionally needy adults, because we never had those tanks filled. And so we're kind of always searching. So this is where you get people with daddy issues or mommy issues. And they're adult children, and it's really sad. And they need so much love and affirmation, because they didn't receive that during this crucial developmental time in their lives. So I'll read here from this text. The child learns to focus on meeting the parents' needs. They learn to put the parents' needs ahead of, everything's about the parents. Everything's about specifically that controlling figure, that central figure in the family. That could be the father, that could be the mother, or another character. But usually this person is emotionally needy. They're kind of an adult child themselves. And they're controlling, and everything's about them. It's all their schedule, their ideas, and everyone's just kind of catering to this person who rules the family. And it's dysfunctional. And I'll give you one more quality of a dysfunctional family. I'm trying to keep these videos shorter nowadays, because I was going for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I'll just do shorter clips and people can kind of get the point and get some different ideas, and then they can look at some other videos later. But the dysfunctional family is closed to the outside world. I really, really, really want to hit this point. Anytime that there is something to hide, anytime there is shame, whether it be an abusive relationship, whether it be within an individual where they feel ashamed, where they feel like something's wrong under the surface. And what generally happens is the person closes themselves off. They don't talk about the issues because there's so much shame and guilt, and they don't want to look bad. They don't want to feel embarrassed or more shame and guilt. They're not communicating openly and healthily. They're not expressing their feelings, whether they be, and a lot of this comes from this idea in society that only certain feelings or certain expressions are acceptable. We're only allowed to be positive. We're only allowed to be cheerful and happy and that. And while those things, if they're genuine and they're not just a facade or a fake cover that a family puts on to sort of appear good on Sunday morning to the outside world, if it's genuine joy, if it's genuine happiness, like rock on, but to not be allowed to express anger, pain, confusion, misunderstanding, frustration, to suppress any emotion is toxic. And so when you have a family that has a secret, maybe it's mom's alcoholism, maybe it's, dad who's this leader in the church who often gets angry and, throws shit or hits somebody. And so we're hiding this gross secret, and children in these dysfunctional family models are learning from a young age to hide. They're learning from a young age. Hi, Sherry. They're learning to silence their feelings and to become an act. This family is off limits, and so if someone comes into the family environment, it's very controlled, and this is how abusive relationships work. Just side note, and it is a form of abuse, I would say. That controlling character has all of the power in that relationship. So the kids or whatever, or if it's an abusive relationship, generally the woman's kind of stuck there, like she doesn't have a car, maybe she doesn't have money, and kids don't have cars or monies. Kids are powerless in these relationships. They don't have the ability to flee these situations. They're literally trapped here. Sorry, my cat's wanting me to pet. Hi, baby. He's a happy distraction. Yes, you're in my video, but I can't show you guys because my nails are still wet. So these kids don't have the power. They don't have the ability to get out of the situation, and they're stuck. And I don't like the phrase, while you're living under my roof, you're going to do this and that. I get it, but this is exerting power over a child. And anything that's sort of, I'm going to control you or manipulate you or use you. Anytime someone's doing money gifts with strings attached, I can't get into it. Anytime someone's, using their power and authority not to bless and be generous genuinely, but to kind of get what they want, that's dysfunctional. That's unhealthy. I think we need to give genuine gifts. We need to give joyfully, as the Bible says. And know that if we open that controlling hand and we allow the other person the space to come as they will, that's a posture that's much more open to receive. And so in that posture, you're going to receive much more authentic love. You're not going to receive, do you want to just receive obligatory visits or phone calls or whatever else you're trying to get? Do you want to just have people that feel like they have to talk to you or have to be around you, or do you want to develop a relationship that's genuine? Anyway, that's another video. I got off on that point. But I just wanted to address that the family, the dysfunctional family, is closed to the outside world, and the child learns at a very early age to kind of hide this secret. This whole idea of secrets, this whole idea of we can't talk about it, this whole idea of I can't be honest, I can't be vulnerable, I can't be truthful with other people, I can't tell anyone what's going on. That's very unhealthy for a child to grow up in that. So the job for the child is to hide the secret, and so they learn to deny what they feel. They're not allowed to express their feelings. They're not allowed to communicate if something's difficult. They're not allowed to express what's going on. And so they learn to hide. And what happens then is you have adults who
are not in touch with their feelings because they've suppressed them for so many years. And when someone's upset, and generally they don't, if they're not in touch with their feelings, it might turn into like a angry, you did this, and a scary, scary fight, because people don't know how to, they never had the practice in their families of expressing their feelings in a loving way, seeking mutual understanding and through kindness and a sweet tone of voice and listening skills. People don't have communication skills, and they're not in touch with their feelings. And their parents in these toxic models of families did not give them the opportunity to practice conflict resolution or healthy communication. And so they blow up. Maybe they suppress it as long as they can, and then they get really scary. And that's why people have associations with conflict. They have scary, scary memories of that. They have hurt, they have pains, they don't like the idea of conflict. When someone says, hey, can I talk to you for a second about something? Their heart drops because they never had good experiences. They suppressed these things, they blew up, and they had very toxic, hurtful kind of conversations about that. So getting in touch with their feelings as an adult, if you were to be in a conversation and someone was to say something and you say, well, how does that make you feel? How do you feel? And they can't access the feeling. They don't know if they're feeling embarrassed, or if they're feeling betrayed, or if they're feeling powerless, or if they don't know what they're feeling. And so one really great thing you can do if you're a person that's disconnected from their emotions, hey Megan, is you can begin to access your feelings. If you're feeling something, if you're in an argument, if you're just upset about something, instead of just drinking or whatever other coping mechanism you might use, see if you can look inward and really ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I upset? And start to reconnect with the feelings that were suppressed for so many years. So anyway, that's a little bit about some of the qualities of a dysfunctional family, a little bit about what makes them toxic, and some of the symptoms or the realities that you'll see in a dysfunctional family model. And so I'm not sure if your families were dysfunctional, but I hope that this video is encouraging for you. And hope and freedom. Namaste.